What is Node.js? Now, most of us know two things for sure. First, we have programming languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, C Sharp for writing the code. Second, we have frameworks corresponding to these languages. For example, Django framework for Python, Spring for Java, Express for JavaScript, and .NET for C Sharp. Of course, there can be more than one framework for a single language, right? Now, what is the role of framework? The role of framework is to simplify the creation of large applications. How? By providing many inbuilt and reusable libraries, classes, functions, etc. Okay, now as you can see, Node.js is not here, right? That means Node.js is neither a language nor a framework. So, what is Node.js? Node.js is a runtime environment for executing JavaScript library. Now listen carefully. A runtime environment is an environment that executes the program. For example, CPython is the runtime environment for Django framework to run execute the Python. Then JVM is for the Spring framework. Then CLR is for .NET framework, right? So basically runtime environment is responsible for things like memory management and converting the high level language like Java, JavaScript, C Sharp to lower level languages. Lower languages like machine language which your system can understand. Okay, so that is the job of runtime environment. Now frameworks are like a wrapper over the runtime environment. Okay, so frameworks basically provide additional features over the runtime environment. All right, I think you know now what is runtime environment, and it's a good start. And here is the definition of Node.js for later revision from the book. Node is neither a language nor not a framework. Node or Node.js, same thing basically, is a runtime environment for executing the JavaScript code on the server side. Why server side, not client side? That I will answer in upcoming question. How Node is a runtime environment on the server side, and what is V8 basically? So let's quickly understand this. See, we have JavaScript language. Now JavaScript language will run and will be executed by the browsers like Chrome and others that we already know. How browsers run JavaScript? Basically, every browser has a JavaScript engine inside it. Like Chrome has the V8 JavaScript engine, Edge has Chakra, Firefox has SpiderMonkey. So inside Chrome browser, V8 is the JavaScript engine which runs the JavaScript code. Now an engineer Ryan used the same V8 JavaScript engine and created Node.js as a wrapper over it. Okay, therefore now with Node.js runtime environment, JavaScript can run outside the browser also. Okay, outside the browser. And as browser execute the JavaScript on client side, now we have the Node.js to execute the JavaScript on server side. When I say client side, it means browser. Okay, it's related to browser. And when I say server side, it's basically the backend. Okay, great. That's the whole idea, and same is written here. And a very simple and easy V8 definition is also written here for later revision from the book. What is the difference between a framework and a runtime environment? I already covered this, but I am covering it separately, this question, so that you do not miss it when you are revising. Okay, so here are the languages, their runtime environments, and then their frameworks. Remember, one language can have more than one runtime environment and can have more than one frameworks. Okay, so it depends actually. And here is the definition of a runtime environment. The runtime environment focuses on providing the necessary infrastructure for the code execution and including some basic services like memory management and input output operations. Okay, that is runtime environment. Framework primarily focuses on simplifying the development process by offering a structured set of tools, libraries, best practices, reusable classes, and functions. Okay, so framework is like a wrapper over the runtime environment to make the application development process more and more simpler for the developers. That's the answer to this question. What is the difference between Node.js and Express.js? Again, a very short answer question. You already know this diagram, right? And the difference is here. Node.js is a runtime environment that allows the execution of JavaScript code on server side, whereas Express.js is a framework built on the top of the Node.js. It's like a wrapper over the Node.js. Why was it built or created, this Express.js? The answer is here. It is designed to simplify the process of building web applications and APIs by providing, simple routing system, middleware support, etc. To simplify, okay. So basically, by using Node plus Express, building server-side APIs will be very, very easy and fast. That's it. What are the differences between client side and server side? Very important question for understanding the complete flow from the client to the server. Let's quickly explore. So suppose you are a user and you open any website in your browser by entering the URL. Now one request will go to the UI server, which is mostly created in Angular, React, or any other UI side technology, okay? Now for some simple operations like image download, that can be, and the operations which can be performed on the existing data which is already there in your UI, like sorting, filtering, that can be done, these kind of operation can be done by the UI server itself, and the UI server send the HTML and JavaScript as a response to the user browser, okay. But for some complex operations like fetching more data or different data, for that the client has to send the request to the backend or API server, and that server again written in the JavaScript language, but this time with the Node.js runtime, okay. Then our Node API will fetch the data from the database, get the response, and send the response with the data back to the UI. So the UI will basically finally display the data to you. Now here the browser and Node will both execute JavaScript, right? But there are differences between the way the browser will execute and the Node will execute. So let's see. First, the browser runs on the user web browser, whereas Node runs on the server. Nothing special. Second difference is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are languages in the browser, whereas JavaScript is the language in Node. Next difference is document window navigator and event objects are present in the browser, but they are not there in the Node. So for example, this document.getElementById, so that kind of things you cannot do in Node, because Node.js of course does not need any interaction with the direct interaction with the UI, right? Next difference is like request, response, server, and data. These database objects are present in Node, but not in browser. So of course these are important objects for handling the request and response on the server side. So browser don't have much to do with it, okay. Last difference is browser responsibility is to handle the UI display, interaction of the users, and the client side logic, whereas the server side or Node handles business logic like data storage, access, authentication, authorization, etc. Great. So these are some differences between how the client side execute the JavaScript and the JavaScript in the server side Node.